Well, hello, hi, and welcome to the Mystic Soul Vine. My name is Etta, and today I'm here to do a video, and we're going to do a video on, it's going to be a little different from what we usually do, but believe it or not, it still intertwines, and we will be doing other videos explaining more about it. Why do you keep attracting the same relationship? The shadow truth. So we're going to get into it. Now, have you ever just, you keep attracting the same relationship, but it be with a different partner? I mean, it's the same thing you went through in the last relationship, and the one after that one, and the one after that one. But it's just with a different face, different person. But you're having the same issues. Well, that's not a coincidence. It's your shadow is trying to reveal itself. And so, yeah. But if you're new here, I would like to welcome you to the Mystic Soul Vine Academy. And here we talk about the shadow. We talk about shadow work. We talk about synchronicities. We talk about signs and symbols. And that's what this channel is mainly about. And so if you're new here, welcome. And I would like to give a big shout out to my subscribers. And we're going to go ahead and get into it. And I'm going to put my glasses on so I'll be able to see. I work with computers so much, being on a computer all the time until my eyes have gotten really, really bad. I used to not have to wear glasses, but now I have to wear them to see. So I do have some prescription glasses, but I'm going to have to go get some more. So these are mainly bifocal. So, but yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started here. So, we're going to talk about repeating relationships, just like I said earlier, and what the shadow is trying to show you during that relationship. So, this is not a coincidence. Patterns equal messages. And the shadow, what is the shadow? The shadow is something that is hidden, that has been pressed down, and does not want to reveal itself. These things could come from trauma, could come from a bad childhood, even like a bad accident, trauma, and it caused one to have fear, of being able to express yourself, so we, why do these issues keep repeating? Because of familiar pain, unhealed wounds, and lack of boundaries. And these things are very important. And, throughout my life, I used to be so nice and didn't have no boundaries and just overextend myself. But in my later years, I learned that you have to set boundaries because some people will take advantage of that. So again, we're going to talk about real life examples, and, most of the time, a lot of people attract unavailable partners, maybe someone that is already in a committed relationship or someone that is married, and then, like I said, sometimes you find yourself just overgiving, just constantly giving until you just wear yourself out, and then, most people feel like unseen, they need so much attention until, it's just like, because just to get off subject for a minute, I work with a young lady that's like that. And she and I talked when I first started working there. She had been raped by a family member. And he scared her for her not to tell her mom. And she said the man used to put a snake up on her chest or something, saying that if she tell it, she was going to put the snake on. That caused fear in her. And she didn't have a father, that she didn't grow up with one. And she have to have that male attention all the time. But that's because why? She has a shadow that she don't even probably realize, and so, like me, I don't want to, I had told her she need to go get some therapy because, everybody is not spiritual, So I said, well, maybe you need to go get you some therapy because see, I see that it still affects her, but she don't see it. But anyway, let's get back on track here. Yeah, people that, need so much attention. They can't, they just have to have someone around them all the time. That's a shadow. So, yeah. So, instead of why does this keep happening? What is it here to teach me? That's what we have to ask ourselves. Why do these issues keep occurring in my life? What is, this situation is trying to teach me something. These are the questions that we need to ask ourselves if we going through these type of situations. Because if you don't heal the shadow, you're going to continue to repeat the same process over and over and over again. And I have to admit, when I was coming up, when I was in my late 20s and even before, teenager, late 20s, I kept having the same relationships, but with different men, the same situations. That's why this is so close to my heart, because what I'm talking about, I've been through this myself. And, you go through so much hurt and so much pain because you're looking for that perfect person. But you don't understand that you have a shadow that you have to heal, because, like I said, if you don't heal that shadow, it's going to continue to go over and over and over again. So what are the practical steps to try to heal this? First of all, we have to identify the pattern. What is this pattern? What's the pattern? What is these? Why do these things keep happening to me? And we have to go back. We have to go back to the origin of where it started from. Like I said, many times it started from childhood. It could have started from the teenage years. But we have to find out how and why this is happening. Where did it start from? What is it that I need to do to heal this, to keep me from going through these same situations over and over again? And then we have to set boundaries, and that's what I learned I had to do. Because if you don't, you're going to wear yourself out. You're going to be so tired. You're going to be drained. Your energy is going to be drained. You're not going to feel like doing anything. You just go, because when people find out that they can run over you, that's, really, that's an energy vampire, and they will suck you dry. So what we have to do is choose differently. We have to choose differently. Once we identify the pattern, once we go back to the origin of where this all started from, and then we have to start healing ourselves, and then we have to set boundaries. And then we have to make some different choices in life. If you be like, okay, this is happening too much. This is just too much. I need to figure out what's going on because I need to heal this. That's the only way your life is going to change. Okay? So, but yeah, that's the message for today. Identify those patterns. Again, where it come from. Set boundaries. Choose differently and choose wisely. And I'm gonna say something else too. This is concerning me because, like I said, I know about this here. I've been through it. And right now today, I still don't have a partner. Because why? I have been to, most time when you've been through a lot in your life, you still have some healing to do. And I look at a lot of women, and men as well. They may get divorced from their partner. They may break up from their partner. And what do? They jump right back into another relationship. And they're not even healed. Not even healed from the last one. And that's another thing. That's why things keep repeating and repeating and repeating. You haven't healed. And you're going to continue to go down that line of the same situations. And I look at them, I be like, man, it's something. So, wise up. If you done broke up from a relationship and you've been having the same relationship with different partners, it's time to say, okay, I'm done. I got to dig off into this and I got to heal whatever is going on. So, because if you don't, you're gonna constantly, like I said, you're gonna constantly pick the same person over and over again, And so it's best to try to heal that. But I will be coming up with more videos, and I just want to thank you all for watching. And I would like to ask you to subscribe to the channel if you like it, and also hit the like bell and hit the notification bell. I usually try to upload every Wednesday, okay? And also I have a free if you want to, now look, if you want to start working on yourself, I have some information in the description. It's a free it's a free gift. It's free for you. The only thing you have to do is put your name and your email in there, and once you do that, I will, you will receive that free. It's a 7 question shadow work. It's a 7 shadow work questions that you can ask yourself, and that's the beginning of your healing, because you got to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. So that's the beginning, to fill out those questions, and once you read those questions, reflect on them, and let Spirit speak to you. And Spirit will lead and guide you in showing you of what you need to do. Okay? So, yeah, the description, it will be in the description there. You can click on the link, and you will receive that gift there, okay? All right, so I'm not going to hold you any longer. So you all take care, be blessed, and have a great day or a great evening. And again, if you want to go deeper, click the link in the description box. Take care. Bye for now.